The New Model Army was created in February 1645 by Parliament as it felt that a professional army would be more successful against the King's army. It was a military unit to transform the English Civil War. The New Model Army was a military force based on a person's ability rather than your position within society. If you were good enough, you could be an officer in it. If you were good at giving orders, you could be a commander. Thomas Fairfax was a commander-in-chief, and Oliver Cromwell was in charge of cavalry. In 1647, Joshua Sprigge wrote in Anglia Redivia, saying, "The officers of this army, as you may read, are such as knew little of war, than our unhappy wars had taught them, except some few, so as men could not contribute much to this work. Indeed, I may say this, they were better Christians than soldiers, and wiser in faith than in fighting, and could believe a victory sooner than contrive it. And yet I think that they were as wise in the way of a soldiery as the little time and experience they had could make them. Therefore, this newly modeled army consisted of 22,000 soldiers, comprising of 11 regiments of cavalry, each of 600 men, for a total of 6,612 regiments of infantry, each of 1,200 men, for a total of 14,400, and one regiment of 1,000 dragoons. This army did have somewhat an advantage at winning battles against the king because they used horses. Their horses were the main advantage towards the king because the king's army didn't have horses. The intense battle of Martson Moor was the main victory for Parliament against Charles I. Cromwell's cavalry had done a lot of damage to the king's army during the battle. They should have chased after the royalists when they ran away. Instead, it was the other way around. The Royalist army and the New Model Army fought against each other in Battle of Naseby. The Model Army defeated the Royalists when the battle was over. Parliamentarians collected the king's ammunition and guns. After the battle, the king was always on the retreat, and the Royalists were recovered from his battle. The strength of the New Model Army overwhelmed Parliament. Cromwell gained power from the support of the army. In the Second Civil War, the army seized control while putting the king on trial. Thomas Fairfax told the Parliament about Cromwell's skills and the king by saying, "I perceived that they took the king for a tyrant and an enemy, and really intended absolutely to master him, or to ruin him, and that they thought that if they might fight against him, they might kill or conquer him." Sir Thomas Fairfax was line engraved by Francis Englehart in 1680, and this engraving is now displayed in the National Portrait Gallery in London.